How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs co-beat writer for On SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today. As the release of this podcast, the Kansas City Chiefs will be taking on their AFC West divisional rival in the Las Vegas Raiders come week 7 at Arrowhead, coming off of a very big win over the Detroit Lions, a victory that many thought was going to be very close, and it was, yet Kansas City still found a way to separate itself. Going into this game, we've already given you so much detail of why it's an important game. We've talked to our Las Vegas Raiders on SI co-beat writer Ezekiel Trezevant, talking about all things Raiders, what they need to pay attention to, and vice versa for Kansas City. And, I can confidently say going into this game, out of all the games that they've played thus far this season, that I do think that Kansas City definitely has the upper hand here. But if they're not taking the Las Vegas Raiders seriously, there could definitely be some room for error that Kansas City, who faces off against this team and knows them very well, it's the same side for them. They know exactly what gets them confused, what works with them, what doesn't work. It's also they're going up against a different head coach this time around in Pete Carroll. And while he might not be living up to the former Super Bowl head coach that he was, he's still not necessarily given a whole lot of product to deal with. There's some veterans on the team, but there's still some shakiness that I'm expecting Kansas City to capitalize on. But with that being said, here are 3 storylines that I am going to be paying attention to that I hope that the Chiefs Kingdom is also paying attention to going into this game. You got to keep in mind also that this game is one of the first games that I feel like in a long time that Kansas City is not playing prime time. It will be a 1 p.m. Eastern time, 12 Central. But I do think that all will go well for Kansas City should they be able to follow these things. Here's the first storyline of the game. Now, just because the Las Vegas Raiders go into this game with a 2-4 record while the Kansas City Chiefs hold a 3-3 record, I do not or will not discredit the fact that this game could definitely be very, very close. In their last 2 matchups, there have been very close games, 1-score games, 2 of which contributed to their 15-2 season last year for Kansas City. Even though that I said that this team on paper, at least from the Las Vegas side of things, looks a little different and looks vastly more improved, on paper, they have yet to show their true glimpses. But, with it being a divisional rival, that there's this kind of competitive nature in the air that they're not going to let down their guard. Kansas City can't let down their guard. And I'm fully expecting this game to be very close. However, if it is not close, meaning that if the Las Vegas Raiders aren't able to find a way to kind of match Kansas City on the offensive side of things as well as defense, then I think that Kansas City could run away with this. For example, what I mean by that is if Kansas City does get out and score first, the Raiders, for them specifically, they would like to be as competitive as they can and match the points. Even if they do get a field goal out of in counterpart to a Kansas City Chiefs touchdown, it is important to see how they respond and how Kansas City does when Las Vegas does respond. Because if they take them lightly, this game is going to be a lot closer than they would like. There's a hunger when it comes to this kind of matchup, and the Chiefs are going into this game having already lost against a divisional opponent in week 1 in the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm fully expecting that if it is a back and forth contest, it'll be close. But if Kansas City gets out 2 scores ahead, game's done. I think that Patrick Mahomes and company on offense, as well as Chris Jones and everybody on defense, is going to be a long day at the office for the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that has played fairly well at Arrowhead the past few seasons. Number 2, a storyline to watch, that with the Kansas City Chiefs victory, they will jump ahead in the win column for the first time this season. reaching 4-3, starting off 0-2, and having the world question whether or not that this dynasty that they have created since Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have become buddy-buddy in the quarterback and head coach department. It could have been falling apart, but after their first 0-2 start, they counteracted that with 2 straight wins, and then you lost one to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you rebounded against the Detroit Lions. And I can confidently say that the Detroit Lions and the Las Vegas Raiders are not on the same level. If you're able to defeat the Detroit Lions by, pretty commanding fashion without even having a penalty on you, I think that if they go about this game as fundamentally sound as they can, if there's a way that Kansas City can just look for getting points on the board and trust their defense against a very lackluster offense thus far for Las Vegas, who features a quarterback in Geno Smith who has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns this year, I think that it could very well favor this separation finally from the win one, lose one, win one, lose one. Let's string 2 wins together for Kansas City for the first time since going back-to-back against the New York Giants and the Baltimore Ravens, doing it against the Detroit Lions and the Las Vegas Raiders to get to a 4-3 record. I bet you Chiefs Kingdom are going to feel a lot better about where their standing is. But, though I am feeling confident in Kansas City going into this game, it's still the National Football League. Anything can happen. You can't let your guard down if you are a member suiting up for Kansas City on that field today at Arrowhead. And the third storyline today, it's the storyline that I think Chiefs Kingdom's looking forward to, the organization, the rest of the NFL world, if you're an overall National Football League fan, the return of Rashee Rice, who before he got injured last season was a wide receiving option who had the makes of being a top 10 wide receiver. Obviously going down with an LCL injury that sidelined him, as well as into this season, he was suspended for his off-the-field actions. Having already served that, now he is back. I'm fully expecting Rashee Rice to be a difference maker against the Las Vegas Raiders. Not necessarily saying that it is such a tall task for him to be successful. He has faced off against the Raiders, and he knows the game plan going into the game. But Rashee Rice is going to be having a lot of momentum, adrenaline, love on his side. I think that it's going to be a very good game. And for Patrick Mahomes' sake, I think that with getting Rashee Rice back, having Xavier Worthy fighting through a dislocated shoulder injury as well as a small ankle problem, as well as Hollywood Brown, they finally have a 3-headed monster that they have needed for a long time in Kansas City. It was supposed to happen last year. It didn't because of injuries, but now this is the first time that Chiefs Kingdom gets a taste of what this wide receiving trio can do. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, as always, be sure you follow me over on X at Dom Minchella. I post and repost every single day. You're not going to want to miss any coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs while we have led into Week 7 and for the remainder of the rest of the regular season. You can also follow us over at KC Chiefs on SI over on X. Every single story gets written by our wonderful staff, whether that be columns, game predictions, opinions, podcasts, live game threads, in-person press conferences, you name it. Kansas City Chiefs on SI is the place to get your Kansas City Chiefs news. As always, folks, remember, be kind to one another, and I will see you tomorrow.